How you doing there, guys? Mark and Josh from Radio Respawn. Now, the good people from Sony Entertainment,
Your mates.
my mates at Sony Entertainment, have been kind enough to let us into their offices in Melbourne to check out the brand new PlayStation 4 the day before its release.
I'm super excited. The games that we are looking at today are all exclusive. So NAC, Resogun, which is a PSN game as well, and Shadowfall. Shadowfall. I was right.
Anyway, let's get right into it, guys. We're going to be telling you all about the hardware, all about the new controller, which as a PS3 skeptic, I hated that controller. I'm loving this thing. And of course, the games, which is what you really care about. The PlayStation 4 is designed beautifully. Its sharp edges and piercing blue LED light for a burst of colour make the entire console look like a piece of modern art. Everything is tucked away, and with no disc tray and barely visible USB ports, the console maintains an incredibly streamlined design. The PlayStation 4's casing is predominantly plastic with a matte finish, and with only one vent at the exterior of the console, overheating may become an issue in time. Thanks to its inbuilt power brick, the PlayStation 4's cords are never cluttered, and it's incredibly easy to slot the PlayStation 4 into your entertainment unit. Setting it up was a breeze, and we were incredibly impressed with how the console looked. But how did it feel? Time to check out the brand new controller. It's the PlayStation 4's DualShock 4.
So I really like the PlayStation 3 controller. Obviously, if it's not broke, don't fix it. That's generally my kind of motto. This one I was a little bit hesitant about because it is so different. There's the light bar and the touchpad. We've got rid of start and select. That kind of blew my mind the first time they brought that out. But it all kind of works. I mean, people are reporting problems of bumping the options button. I haven't done that yet. The touchpad is kind of not in the way when I thought it would be in the way. The only thing I'm not kind of liking is the light bar, and especially if you sit in a small room close to the television, the light bar kind of reflects off the TV screen a bit. But it's all just, it's sleek. It fits to your hand. That's the other thing. It's kind of like using a controller like glove. It just works. It's definitely a step up. Takes a little bit of getting used to, but it's definitely a step up from the DualShock 3.
The controller's longer and wider handles make it a lot bulkier than the PlayStation 3's DualShock 3, so you don't ever feel like you're holding a small child's toy. Plus, its concave thumbsticks and triggers make it really easy for any Xbox addict to jump ship to the DualShock 4. The controller gets a big tick, but what about the software? First up is a game that everyone's going to be getting for free with their PlayStation console. It's Resogun. Resogun is a side-scrolling shooter developed by House Marquee exclusively for the PlayStation 4. Best of all, it's one of two games that you will be getting for free with your PlayStation. It's been receiving critical acclaim all over the internet, IGN giving it a 9 out of 10 and an 8.5 from Polygon, 9.5 from Destructoid, so it's getting some rave reviews. But what did we think? In our short time with the game, I must say I was pretty impressed. The graphics look phenomenal. There are so many particle effects, so many explosions going on screen. It is quite a pretty game and very impressive considering it's one of the PlayStation's two first free downloadable PSN titles. It's very, very basic in how you control. You just use the left stick to move, the right stick to shoot your enemies. Your weapon upgrades as you go, and you know what, it's really, really fun. It's something that I think most people will enjoy, especially as a bit of an introduction to their PlayStation 4, and nobody is really going to complain that it's there. What did you think, Josh?
It plays well. Could probably help with going on angles because it only goes on an up, down, left, right kind of axis, which is, it's okay. When I play that game, I kind of think of Geometry Wars, and it doesn't really have that same feel about it because you use the right stick to shoot and the left button to move. But it is fun. It is good if you've got like time to kill, 10 minutes time to kill, try to get a high score, etc., etc. But it looks nice and it's free, so what can you do to play?
Next up, a game that hasn't been faring too well in reviewers' eyes, it's NAC.
Behold my greatest creation, NAC.
Being the brainchild of Mark Cerny is not always a great thing, especially when that child is a weird basic platformer combined with God of War style combat.
If you played Sonic Unleashed, it feels far too similar of that, and I still have nightmares about that game. Basically, this little wooden block that's held magnetically together, running around. The dynamic is that you pick up little pieces and you can grow, or you get rid of your pieces and you shed them and you can shrink. And so it's a platformer where you try to get into different areas by changing your body type. It's very Katamari Damacy. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, where you roll around the ball and pick up stuff and get bigger, but in a platformer.
While his size does actually affect the amount of power Knack has, it's a concept that's never really fully fleshed out in the game, and as a result, it's worse off. While it looks amazing and its animation standards almost reach the benchmark that Disney sets with its own studios, giving this one a miss isn't going to hurt your PlayStation 4's back catalogue. Last but not least, it's Killzone Shadowfall.
If we didn't know it before, we know it now. The Hellgast mean to destroy us.
Since the first screens of Killzone Shadowfall were shown, it was immediately evident that it would be setting the graphical benchmark for the PlayStation 4's launch lineup. The game looks and plays better than ever. Much of that is thanks to the new controller, which now uses the R2 and L2 triggers instead of the R1 and L1 buttons for shooting and aiming. It's here that the controller really comes into its own. With great touchpad controls and shorter analog sticks, the PlayStation 4's DualShock 4 cements itself as a candidate to overtake the Xbox 360's excellent gamepad. That being said, it does take quite a while to actually get into the gameplay.
There's a lot of cutscenes. I'm pretty sure we were looking at the footage before, and there's 19 minutes of gameplay and cutscenes and stuff before we actually got to shoot somebody. And for an FPS, I felt that was kind of strange. Like Rises to Xbox, this is the perfect example of showing off the new console hardware. It looks beautiful. The characters look kind of human, but that in between spot kind of weirds you out a little bit, and it kind of does that a little bit with you here in Shadowfall, but you don't see that many humans and you're murdering a whole lot of like faceless creatures, so that's okay as well.
Killzone Shadowfall is quite simply the best game on the PlayStation 4 at this point, period. It's got a great story, excellent graphics, and handles really well. Now we just have to wait until March next year to get our hands on infamous Second Son. If you've picked up your PlayStation 4 today, let us know what you think in the comments below. That's all from Sony HQ, guys. Remember to head over to RadioRespawn.com to check out all things PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Wii U related.
Make sure you give us a like on Facebook, facebook.com/Radio Respawn, on Twitter @Radio Respawn, and YouTube, youtube.com/RespawnRTO, where you're watching this video right now.